Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you and you and you for joining me today. I want to talk about one of my favorite precious metal mining stocks, First Mining Gold, FFMGF in the United States. And for you Canadians, I'm sure you'll know how to look it up yourself because I think it's maybe FMG in Canada. But nonetheless, this is one of my favorite companies, and I want to kind of, I'm going to offer you a little look inside my brain. I'm going to tell you kind of what I think about when I think about First Mining Gold and why I feel good about the company right now. Their valuation is quite low when you compare the assets that they own to their market cap. It's actually, excuse me, ridiculously low. So I like that because I am a dumpster diver. Raccoon, that's the unofficial name of my company, Raccoon Capital, because raccoons like to dig around in the dumpster looking for treasure. And I think that you can find real treasure, silver and gold, when you dig around in the dumpster and find First Mining Gold. It's totally unfair what the valuation of the stock is, but it is what it is, and it's my opinion a great value at these levels. So one of the first things I really like about the company is they are in North America, primarily Canada. They have all these projects, okay, a whole portfolio of projects, most of which they've either partnered out or signed joint venture partnerships, or that they still hold 100%. And of the properties that they still own 100%, they have a massive project called Springpole, which they are in the process of developing and permitting on their own. And I'll get into that more a little bit later. So let me first start with their projects that they've signed joint venture partnerships with. Number one, their Newfoundland project. That's with Big Ridge Mining. They essentially have a 36% interest in that project. They have like a 20% retained interest, and then they own, I believe, about 20% of Big Ridge stock. So when you do some fancy math, at least my fancy math, it comes to about 36% interest. That project is being drilled. That project, that company is also 20% owned by Michael Gentile, who is a very highly respected investor within the precious metal mining sector. Very exciting. Newfoundland, I mean, great jurisdiction, great hot area. Okay. A lot of good things can happen. Next up, Pickle Crow. They did a joint venture partnership with Agnico out of Australia about a year and a half, almost 2 years back now. They essentially own, according to my math, about 27% of that project. And that is going very well. They've been drilling that over the last year. Drill results are awesome. Probably going to see a big bump up in the amount of resources there. So again, a very, very highly prospective and project that's already had a lot of success. Thirdly, Treasury Metals. First Mining owns about 15%, according to my memory. And that is being developed and going through actually, I think it's already permitted. It was kind of a combination of one of the First Mining assets with the Treasury Metals assets because they're right next to each other. Again, in Canada. And by the way, Pickle Crow is also in Canada. But the Treasury Metals project is also being drilled. I love the CEO, Jeremy, I think it's Jeremy Wyeth. I don't know. Great guy. Seems like, based on his background and my impressions of him, that he's a straight shooting, very high quality guy that's kind of leading the development of that mine up in Canada. And I think it's like right off the highway, whatever. So nonetheless, you got 3 joint ventures that the company's entered into, where they're retaining significant amounts of ownership. All 3 of those properties are actively being drilled, okay? And they've retained royalties on all 3 of those projects, which is part of a I think there's 20 royalties that First Mining owns. I've heard some people say it's, an envy. Their royalty portfolio is the envy of many small royalty companies. So they've got a royalty portfolio of which they have royalties on these 3 joint venture projects that they've signed, and all 3 of those joint venture projects are being drilled. So there's potential for their royalty portfolio to also increase in ounces and value. Company has an excellent cash position, and they also have 2 other properties that they're holding on their books that there's not a lot going on with. The Cameron property, which is in Canada, it's a 1 million ounce resource, very highly prospective, and some properties in Quebec, which when combined together are also about 1 million ounces. So, wow, that alone is very exciting. You've got 3 joint venture partnerships that are being drilled, that First Mining retains a significant amount of ownership in. You've got 2 other really great 1 million ounce properties that they're kind of sitting on right now and, not incurring any major expenses with or anything like that. The company has a ton of cash, and they've got a great portfolio of royalties, and the royalties are potentially growing. I mean, almost inevitably growing with all the drilling that's going on. So leave it alone. Let's stop there, right? And that's a pretty exciting opportunity. All Canada, everything. I'm not going to bore you with listing it out all again, but all the things going on with all those different properties, a lot of cash. Sounds like a great opportunity, right? But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. Their big project that they own 100% of is called Springpole. That's also in Canada. That is a 5 million ounce project. They just started the permitting process. It'll be a 300,000 ounce per year producer. Now that's attractive to any of the big guys, starting with like a company like, let's say, Equinox Gold, but then going all the way up to the big guys. It's very attractive. They just started the permitting process. They've also have great exploration potential in that area, and they've been adding to their land package. I forget the name of that region. It's like the Birchi something region. I believe Barrick just made some, moves in that area to start doing some exploration. But First Mining Gold has like the biggest land package and the best land package in that area. And they have a mine that's being permitted right smack dab in the middle of it. And the permitting is being headed up by a super impressive guy who's permitted several mines up in that area, Steve Lines. I would highly recommend, there's a webinar you can watch with Dan Wilton, the CEO of First Mining Gold, and Steve Lines, the gentleman who's heading up the permitting process. I would highly recommend you watch that. Steve Lines is very impressive, as is Dan, but Steve kind of goes through where they are in the process. Steve has permitted and been involved in the permitting process of several big mines in that area of Canada. Okay, he was, if I got this correct, headed up the permitting process for the Greenstone mine, which I think was called Hard Rock, but now it's called Greenstone, which is being built right now by Equinox Gold. So this thing is for real. It's going to happen. And you've got like a top-notch group of guys working on the permitting process of Springpole. Again, 300,000 ounces per year, 5 million ounce resource at this point. It just, it's really exciting. But wait, there's even more. First Mining just hired a VP of exploration who's kind of has roots in, I don't know the details, but he's connected with that area of Canada. His last name's Maxwell. I apologize, Mr. Maxwell, for being too lazy to look up your first name. I don't want to stop my video to look it up. But they just hired him. He was from Sabina Gold, and he's going to be heading up all the exploration in that area. And again, they've got a huge package of land up there. So very exciting. There's also some top-tier engineering companies that have partnered with First Mining. I think Ausenco is one of them, but you can look at the corporate presentation. But there's a number of like top-notch consulting companies that have partnered with First Mining on the Spring Pool project. And again, great location, Canada. All their projects are in that North America. I don't know if Newfoundland's part of Canada or not. I need to look into that. But nonetheless, the rest of the projects are in Canada. And you know, if you've been following or if you invest in the gold mining sector, you know, if you compare a place like Canada to a place like Mexico, you know, ask Equinox how it is dealing around in Mexico lately. Ask America's Gold and Silver what it's like to deal with Mexico lately. Ask Fortuna Silver what it's like to deal with Mexico lately. There's a big list of companies that are just using Mexico as an example, are having issues because of geopolitical risk. And all of First Mining's projects are in that Canada and Newfoundland. Keith Neumeyer, final point, was the founder of the company and is still active within the company. He's chairman of the board. He also just recently bought, I think it was 250,000 shares of the company. So he's actively been buying, and has been for a number of years, the company stock, and has even recently, in a recent Kitco interview, stated that something along the lines that the stock is ridiculously underpriced. And I agree with that 100%. Now, this company has a, I don't know, 6-year history, 5-year, 6-year history. There's been a lot of people that got into it. The stock didn't really move, or they got burnt a little bit. I think there's an overhang with First Mining Gold, but I think, in my gut, I feel like Dan Wilton has, over the last several years, moved the company to a point where things are really starting to gel. And that, you know, we get a higher gold price as these projects get moved further down the development pipeline. When this stock, if and when this stock goes, it could really go. You know, in U.S. money, it's like 25 cents a share. I think once it gets to, like, let's say 50, 60, that may take a while, presuming it gets there. But once it gets there, from there, it could be a rocket ship. Just my opinion. I could definitely be wrong. But it just feels like, you know, from a risk-reward perspective, I mean, it checks so many of the boxes. Inside ownership, you know, good jurisdiction, big projects, top-notch management. I feel good about First Mining Gold. Okay, there's a few other companies I feel pretty good about, no doubt about it. It's First Mining Gold is one of my 4 major stock investments, so I am talking my own book. But I just think that right now, at this price, it presents a great value and a great opportunity. Thanks for watching. I hope you're doing well. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.